celebrating and showcasing some of the most amazing people around the world who are doing incredible things to make our world a better place. This is CUTV News. I'm Jim Masters. Today we celebrate Dana Heartman. In her career as a regional sales director, Dana had one mantra: failure is not an option. She believes failure is not an option because it's how we choose to view failure. She says any successful entrepreneur or anyone who has had great successes in any area of their lives knows that failure is only phase one. Everything that is useful in our society failed before it worked. You never fail if you choose to fail forward. Every time something doesn't have the outcome you hoped for, you can call it failure, or you can learn and grow from it, which means it wasn't a failure. Today, Dana Heartman applies that same mantra to her clients as a master life coach. She is the executive director of Foundation Coaching Group. She's a public speaker as well, and she's been seen on TV shows such as The Marriage Boot Camp, Dr. Drew's Life Changers, and Marriage Camp, a 6-week special filmed for the Discovery Network, just to name a few. She's always had a positive message and a positive concept about life. She really wants her clients to have a sense of empowerment, a sense of ownership of their lives. She wants them to grow. She says you have to be engaged, active, a participant in your life. You're going to put your heart into it. And every time something happens and it's not exactly what you hoped for, then you're going to learn from it and move in a forward direction. In the beginning, Dana worked primarily with sales professionals and executives. Now, after more than 20 years of coaching, she works not only with professionals, but with everyone. She says healing from our wounds can reveal our greatest purpose. It can introduce to us what we're really supposed to do with our lives. Recently, I had the opportunity to travel to the headquarters of Foundation Coaching Group in Richardson, Texas, just outside Dallas, for an exclusive interview with Dana Heartman and to meet some of her colleagues and her happy clients. Dana, you have worked in regional sales and you have a distinguished career in the industry for many, many years. Tell us a little bit about the transition from working in regional sales to becoming a master life coach. How did that happen?
Well, after working in corporate sales for many years and helping my team, my sales team, become the very best in our company, it was something that I really wanted to try on my own. People thought I was crazy. I actually left my company after 9/11 and decided that I was going to go out on my own, take this training program I had developed within our organization and deliver it to my clients. So I took it to my clients and they loved it. But little by little, I had executives all the way down to sales guys that were saying, you know, I need some help with some personal stuff, or, you know, I need to meet with you and my husband because we have some issues with a child, or, you know, any number of personal issues that people had going on. And eventually I hung a shingle and said, everybody's going to have to come to me from now on. Once I was a certified coach, then it was an advanced coach, and then it was a master life coach. So it worked out pretty well.
How do you define what a master life coach is, the work that you do?
Well, just a lot more training. You spend a lot more time doing the classroom process, and every certification agency is very different. So some have in-class, some do via the internet, you know, web classes. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but it is just a lot more training. And with that training, I learned a lot about the technology piece of coaching. And, you know, our website is better and our technology base is definitely better than it was before that. So I learned really the whole entire, it really encompasses the whole entire company of a coach, the whole business.
This is something that is beyond even explanation for you. It's just something you do and you do so well, and you're touching so many lives in the process.
Well, I think I have a lot of natural insight about how people are feeling, what they're experiencing, but I'm not a soft shoulder, so I have a great deal of empathy, but I'm not too mushy, because people really want somebody to be tough. And I find that my clients come back over and over and over throughout the years because they know I'm going to give them the straight, you know, the straight answer. If I don't think they're doing their homework, if I don't think they're really making the effort to grow, then I'll call them out on it. If I'm giving them tools to use and they're not using them, and then they keep coming back saying things aren't working, then I challenge them on that. Pretty much everything they give me, information regarding themselves, I reserve the right to use it against them if they aren't, doing what they say they want to do in their lives. And I tell my clients early on in our relationship that I can't want this growth for you more than you want it for yourself, and I want it for you really bad. So you have to want it that much more. And I don't work, people know it's in my contract that I can fire them. So if they're not going to do the work, and if they really are just kind of spending time, I've been known to hand them a deposit slip and say, why don't you just pull through the drive-thru and make a deposit in my account? We'll just save each other all the time. If you just want to pay me and you don't want to grow, then this is just it's a futile exercise. But it is a partnership, and there is accountability. And I love when my clients come in week after week and they start to connect what's happening and why I'm having them do things that to them may not make sense in the beginning. And ultimately they get the changes and the growth that they need. And it's amazing.
My daughter came to see Dana for a period when she was having some anxiety over the separate households of mine and her dad's. Mm-hmm. And I knew Dana could really help her with some real tangible tools. So as you can imagine, teenagers do not like to go speak to strangers about things that worry them. So she, went in like a cat going to see the vet and came back out and asked when she could go again. Dana gave her homework and practices that she still uses, 3 years later, just to help her when anxiety happens. And it's gonna, so better have the tools now.
That's
when can
amazing.
we do this again? It really was.
That is fantastic.
It's been a huge help, giving her lots of tools. So,
continued blessings.
Yes, thank you, and to you.
Thank you. Dana, what do you find are some of the real issues that people are struggling with these days? We're living in such a ramped up, fast-paced society, and technology and social media has come to play and come to pass. What are some of the things that people are really, wrestling with in their lives these days? And has it changed over the years?
The issues are endless. As I say all the time, we're all about 20 seconds away from our next stupid mistake. And so I have really great job security because we are endless creators of our own baggage and our own mistakes, and we're constantly having to go through growth in our lives. There's no graduation date of personal growth. So the things I go through, I work with, as I said, I work with couples. So I've worked with couples who are even going through divorce. They're considering divorce. Maybe they just really want to try and make things better and they don't know what to do next. I work with, I've had singles who come in and say, I just can't seem to meet anybody. And so that's always a tough conversation because it always starts with number one. I work with kids who have education things going on when they're starting college and they really don't know what direction they want to take in their lives, and I help them kind of figure out what it is that they were wired and designed to do. I really help them find that true aptitude that is built into them. I really just love working with people across the board. I can see clients that are coming in because they want to better their careers. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who are starting up businesses. I'm a partner in innovation, how they can make their business different than their competitors. And there's really not much of a limit. There are a few things I don't enjoy coaching, like financial coaching or job search coaching, that kind of thing. They're just not my favorite. But I love working with people on a heart level. And that can certainly encompass business. That can encompass corporate America. That can encompass startups for entrepreneurs, just as much as it can encompass couples and families and blended families and people who are going through a grief process. There's no limit. But I really love working with people about what's inside their heart. What is it that's holding you back? Because when we're not moving forward in our lives in a direction that we want to go, there's an emotional, psychological reason. Something is a barrier to our success, and it's hard for us to find it by ourselves.
So Jen, what brought you to Dana initially?
I actually was referred to her by another satisfied client who had been working with her over several years through coaching. And I came to her for some coaching for my business because I'm a creative entrepreneur. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult for us to reel that creative mind in. And she kind of taught me how to appropriate my creative side and mix it with my business side in order to develop a really strong platform and environment for my company.
So had you ever considered the services of a life coach before meeting Dana?
No.
Really?
I actually have never considered using a life coach. I've always been a really big advocate of like therapist and therapy because it's a little bit more common, I guess you would say. But I'd never really considered working with a life coach until I think probably like a couple years ago when I met Dana, and we just hit it off. I loved everything about her. Her calm presence, everything that she did for me, for my business, the whole 9 yards.
So why do you think it's important for somebody to really avail themselves of the opportunity of having somebody like a life coach, somebody like you with all of your years of experience?
Well, the benefits are personal growth. And as I've said, there's no graduation day on that. We are creators of our own mistakes. We are creators of thinking we're doing things that are good for us and then finding out maybe we didn't take a good turn. And life happens. And as I've shared with you, I've gone through experiences in my life that were devastating. None by my personal choice. I didn't make them happen. I didn't bring them about. But losing my brother, that wasn't something that I ever wanted to experience. We were best friends. But it made me grow. When I went through the healing process, there was no doubt that I was a different person. And so our struggles and our difficulties, our even our vices, our addictions, and our tragedies create the people that we become. And we can either embrace that or not. I always say embrace the suck. Sometimes life sucks. Yeah. And you know, when you quit fighting it and you just say, hey, sometimes life is hard, embrace the hard. Embrace the suck. Embrace that it's difficult and learn from it. I mean, self-talk is the #1 most powerful thing in all of psychology. And when people have a internal dialogue that is less than positive, and a lot of times they don't realize they do because it's subconscious. What resides in our subconscious mind, we can't change until we're aware of it. And so we have a lot of wiring sometimes because of the injuries and things that we go through throughout our lives, that we're getting these negative messages subconsciously. I'll never get this right. I'll never be good enough. So very much perspective is a huge part of coaching. You can't change what you don't recognize.
How much of this involves self-reflection?
Again, we can't change things that we're not willing to accept about ourselves. So if we do have personal habits or addictions or problems and we see things repeating in our lives and we do nothing to change it, well, I think that's a definition of insanity. Keep doing this same thing over and over and wanting a different outcome. Never happen. So if we don't change individually as #1, if we're not making a change, nothing changes.
You know what I think is really impressive about this operation, this group you have here in the Dallas area, Dana, is the fact that you've also surrounded yourself with an impressive team of experts. And some of those people who are coaches in their various genres and their expertise, their fields of study, are people that you've actually coached. Some of them have even gone from being a client to a coach, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I do have a great group, and they're all just special and unique. I kind of call it my coaching garden, if you will, because I feel like I'm growing up coaches, and quite a few go on to do their own thing and hang their own shingle, and others have stayed on for quite some time. But the reason that I started this whole business model was because my public speaking engagements were bringing in more clients than I could manage. And I decided that it would be really great to help develop other coaches. There's not enough people who really get it. And if you're like-minded and wanting to make a difference in the world, you want to help other people, then we speak the same language. A handful of my clients now have become coaches and have developed amazing practices. And I mean, we have such a diverse team. You met a lot of my team today. We've got doctorates, and we have a MD. We have a medical doctor who's one of our coaches now, and her goal is to coach doctors and physicians. They don't get as much help as they need, not only because of the hours, but because they just don't always ask for help. We have a retired attorney who is one of our mediators, and he's on our team. We just have a really accomplished, amazing team. Some of our coaches have written books. Some are certified in various things. Everybody's got different credentials. And so it just comes together and makes this really unique blend. And there's really just about nothing we can't offer.
I do recovery coaching. I focus more on addiction after treatment. Whenever somebody comes from getting sober, there's another thing called recovery, which is not getting sober. It's two different things. So whenever you get out of treatment and start your new lifestyle, you have to get tools and you have to work on yourself, self-care, wellness, how to eat right, better, how to learn gratitude, compassion for others, compassion for yourself, discover yourself again. And it's pretty funny because long time ago, somebody told me about a life coach that he had, and I was like, what the heck is a life coach? I mean, do you need what is a life coach?
What is that?
And somebody else told me about a relationship coach, and I was like, what is a coach? I thought coach were for, you know, like sports and everything. But it's pretty funny that now I'm in this world and I really love it. And Dana had helped me, like, I was a little bit stuck, even if I was coaching. And that happens with therapies, and a lot of people, they don't practice self-care, and they get stuck in their own personal life. But she had helped me to get unstuck and kind of move forward.
Dana, you know what I think really makes the experience here at your fantastic, fantastic facility is the fact that not only is it warm and comfortable and inviting, and not only do you really go the extra mile, but the team that you do have around you, they're as passionate as you are too. And they all have, and they bring to the table something different, something special from their own expertise. You all blend beautifully, but yet you all have your own individualized perspective. And that's important, right?
Right. And within our offices here in Dallas, we have about 15 coaches, as I said, including myself, over 40 services that we offer. We have 3 counselors that work out of our office, and so we have a group room, so we do group coaching. Our therapists do play therapy, so it's not unusual for us to have mom and dad either in a session with their life coach, maybe in a group session, and their child is in play therapy, and we can meet all of their needs for the whole family in one location. And so we take a lot of pride in that, and it is an absolute privilege for me to help other coaches become successful, to teach them my curriculum, to give them something more than just what you learn when you take a class, a certification class. And we have amazing curriculum here, just phenomenal, and it's been tried and tested for 20 years, and we have honed it. It is a finely tuned machine, and so I love bringing them in. And I've really set this up so that it's affordable for new coaches to begin their practice. I have a beautiful office, and we do calendar sharing, so some of the offices are shared, and we all sign up, people sign up as they need office space to see clients, and my coaches all pay a small amount of rent. I don't take any of their fees from their clients. They just offset some of my expense, and it's been an incredible business model.
Tell us about some of the amazing things that you do here. I know you offer a wonderful menu of services. What are some of the things that you offer to your clients?
Well, we do a really broad range. I mean, we have 2 coaches now that are certified in RAMP therapy, which is a program. It was founded and created by Dr. Sherry Buffington here in Dallas, and it alleviates post-traumatic stress. It works on the subconscious level, so the things that we're not aware of that are holding us back, those barriers that we might have, it taps into that subconscious, and it's just a spoken session. There's no weird stuff going on. No, it's not hypnosis. There's no machines. We're not hooking you up to anything, but it's phenomenal. We have other coaches that are certified in various. It could be couples, a specific curriculum for couples, and we have people who are certified to do various assessments. You name it. I mean, I'm certified in body language. It's one of the reasons I love to see my clients. So if I'm not working with someone here in my offices, I'm working with them usually on the internet, because I love to see their face. I want to see those micro expressions and know if they're connecting and how it's working for them. So we bring about a lot of unique talents. Our services range from individual coaching, couples coaching, family coaching, corporate coaching. We do blended family coaching. So we'll bring together families that are merging and they're trying to figure it out. There's so little in our country for blended families. And yet the national average for divorce in first marriages is 50%. So we have a lot of blended families. Second marriages, almost 70%. So while I don't love the statistics for the failure rates of marriage, I do believe that if we can provide people with more resources, we can maybe beat that number down.
So Courtney, you started coming to see Dana first as a client, right? Tell us about that.
Yes, I did. A friend had introduced me to her. He had been seeing her, and he said this is a great place to learn a little bit and get some life coaching. And I wasn't sure exactly what life coaching was, but I gave it a shot, and it was amazing. I was very glad that I had come, because now I've been seeing Dana for 4 years. She helped me at the beginning helped me get through a divorce, and kind of gave me tools to use to deal with that and to help me grow as a person. And I grew so much with her coaching that I really wanted to be able to help other people do the same. You know, there's so many people out there that are going through stuff, and they're going through it on their own, and they don't understand that there's somebody out there that can actually help them, coach them, give them tools to use in order to live a better life. You know, live a life that they've always dreamed of, or, you know, basically become the person they always want to become. And so it is rewarding to see the growth and the transformation come out of it.
You know what I think is also really special is the fact that you really put a lot of time and energy and care into the creation of your company, of your group. As I said, you've surrounded yourself with some really impressive people. Also, you've surrounded yourself with an amazing atmosphere here. I mean, the decor, the aesthetics of this fabulous place, it's just so warm and inviting. And that's really important. You want to set that tone for your clients where it doesn't feel like a clinical or medical atmosphere. It really feels almost like they're home, right? Or maybe even sometimes better than home.
You know, I like that old and new, you know, parchment kind of antiquity thing, and things that just have this crazy splash of color. And at the same time, I really like things that are neutral, gender neutral. So when we moved our office almost 10 years ago now, we did a whole makeover and made all of the artwork and everything kind of a neutral. And we more than doubled our male clientele. So men don't necessarily want to go sit in a foofy office, you know. So it's kind of neat, because there are a lot of men now who are doing life coaching and really love it. Whereas for so many years, men in our society, we didn't condition our men to talk about their problems, to go see a therapist, but they will come and see a life coach. And so it's really been amazing to watch just the dynamic of our office. They're very much like little living rooms, our offices. You know, the furnishings and the paintings and everything's been hand selected by me. So, you know, when people come in, they often say, gosh, I feel like I'm just in your home, I'm in your living room. And I want them to feel that way. I want people to be comfortable when they get ready to do their coaching. I want the stress of their day to be out of their mind, and I want them to feel comfortable.
She has a different perspective on things. It's a no-nonsense approach that she's going to call BS, BS. which I appreciate. But she's also very compassionate and a lot of empathy, and through her life experiences, been able to take that and transition that into helping other people. A lot of times your life skills are what you've learned through experience, what you've learned from your parents, and we all carry baggage. We all have some, quite frankly, some dysfunction in our lives of some sort or another, and the life coaching just gives people a way to break through that and gives tools to move forward free of a lot of the past and move forward to enjoy the future.
We have clients all over the U.S. We even have some clients that are out of the country, and because of the internet, we can have face-to-face dialogue with everybody. In our particular office, we use GoToMeeting, and it's nice because we can have a number of people on a screen if we need to. So even if I have a client who comes in, but they want to do some work with a sibling that they've maybe had conflict with, we can bring them into the meeting with us. And I just love the flexibility of being able to work with people anywhere, everywhere. If I'm out of town speaking and I need to do a session with someone, I can do that. I mean, it's really changed everything.
Now, you also do speaking engagements as well, Dana. Tell us about some of that process. I know you put together these amazing and very moving and impactful presentations, and you love doing that. Tell us about that angle of what you do.
I love talking to groups of people, various groups of people. I don't really have a specific, audience in mind. And I get such a thrill out of being able to impact a group. When it's one thing to have a one-on-one session with somebody in my office, it's another thing when I'm given a platform where I can deliver a message and it can make a difference to a lot of people. And if that results in them wanting to do some coaching afterwards, that's fine. But my message is that of a really positive life. You know, one of the things that we always say, it's even in our marketing and our tagline, live your best life. We don't get any do-overs. And the truth is, life's going to happen. The clock keeps ticking, and we can make our life meaningful, and we can command our lives, or we can allow life to happen to us, and we can just stay in this reactive mode. And typically people who stay in that mode are suffering from depression. They feel overwhelmed. They don't understand how to stop all the drama and the chaos that's happening in their lives. And it's, by and large part, it's because they are not commanding their life. And everyone can do that.
I'm a licensed professional counselor. I work with children. I do play therapy. I also see adults, marriage couples. I work with all age ranges. I do a lot of trauma specialty, working with individuals as well as veterans that are diagnosed with PTSD. I have worked with survivors of childhood abuse, sexual abuse, and anxiety comes along with that. So that's a lot of the crust of my work. Dana and I have known each other at least 15 years. We worked together with life enrichment seminars. We were both involved, and that's how I got to know her, and our paths crossed again several years later, and we've shared office space, which also gives us the opportunity to share just knowledge and experience and work through issues for clients, and having that commonality as well as that ability to support each other and be able to help people in a more detailed, in-depth way.
Now, you've had some exposure on television as well, and some folks watching nationwide might recognize you from the Marriage Boot Camp, from work with Discovery Network, and even work with Dr. Drew as well. Tell us a little bit about some of those incredible projects you've worked on and what that process was like for you.
Well, Jim, I always say TV, being on camera, there's two things I don't like about it. One is having to hear my own voice, because I pride myself on thinking I don't have a Texas accent. And then I find out I probably have a little bit. So hearing my own voice recorded, or anything that makes my butt look 10 pounds bigger, and that's what they say about TV. So filming is always a challenge. You know, it's hard work. Doing this is difficult work, and it's challenging. However, when you can impact more people, once again, it makes that so worth it. We did do a program for WeTV that was called Marriage Boot Camp, and I did a couple of seasons of that, and then kind of went a different direction. So I stayed on to do our home base seminar, marriage boot camp and life enrichment boot camp when I was the director there. And we did stuff for the Discovery. We did a 6-week special for Discovery Network that aired on they have a multitude of channels. But that was called Marriage Camp, and that was a few years ago, so we've done that. Dr. Drew, Jim and David, my partners, went on Gene Simmons' Family Jewels and took Gene and Shannon Tweed through forgiveness before they got married through our program and delivered the same program. So we've done quite a bit of television, and I've done a lot of interviewing and radio, TV, that kind of thing. And it's, you know, again, there's parts of it that aren't always the fun thing. It looks a lot more glamorous than it probably is, but it's worth the effort if it makes a difference in somebody's life.
I know you wanted to share with us a really moving story, an impactful story about your brother, and also one about your father, and how some of the tragedy that's happened in your life has also been something that you've worked through yourself. And because you've worked through it, it makes you so relatable for your clients.
Well, I grew up with a very charming father, but he was a charming narcissist. And everyone loved him. He was a delightful man. But he had some addictions. They involved women, and he made a lot of mistakes in his life, and ultimately it led him to prison. He was involved in a shooting because of a woman, and, you know, he had the equivalent of 40 years of a sentence, but they let him serve him concurrently because he was 60 when he went in, and he was 70 when he got out. And 2 years after my dad was released, he was murdered in his own apartment in his home, and it was unbelievable for me. I remember feeling angry at my brother again. I had to work kind of through that because he left me to deal with all this crazy stuff by myself. I had to forgive my dad because for me, he couldn't even die normal. I just wanted him to just be a dad. And he was much more focused on things that were gratifying to him. So it taught me a lot. It held me back for a long time until I realized how my father impacted my life, how my brother's death impacted my life. And then I was able to heal and move forward with it. So, you know, I've been through an awful lot of amazing experiences that I wouldn't wish on anybody, but I'd rather be in a healthy relationship with those experiences as I am today.
Well, what that does.
We all have tragedies. Some of us have things that have happened to us. Some of us have things we've created in our own lives. And regardless, we have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive those who have hurt us. And you're absolutely right. Without the healing, I don't know where I'd be today. Without that growth process, I have no clue what would have amounted to this girl. I believe that people, regardless if you're someone who's incarcerated, if you're a parent, if you're father, mother, teenager, it doesn't matter who you are, married, single, divorced. When we started the marriage boot camp and we were all 3 divorced, people were like, what's wrong with you guys? You're divorced. Why are you starting a marriage boot camp? And we were like, because we know what we don't want to do. We know how we want to help people not go through what we went through. I think it's just critically important for us to pay it forward to help somebody else.
What would you say to somebody watching right now who maybe is going through something and they're really having a tough time dealing with it? Something that you can impart with our audience that would be inspirational and maybe empowering for that one person that's watching who's struggling right now?
If you're struggling with something difficult, there's always hope. There is always going to be the other side. For me, having experienced that firsthand with the loss of my brother, he felt hopeless. And had he hung on just a little bit longer, within a 30-day period, everything would have been different. Life is ever changing. And if you have no hope, then you need to reach out. Because there is hope. There's always something more. And your suffering, maybe your pain, maybe your experience might be exactly the thing that somebody else needs. And I think it's kind of a responsibility maybe to our fellow man to try and heal and do something to help the next person. There's always hope. I recently had a client who tragically lost his 13-year-old child to suicide. And helping somebody understand that they can give that loved one a legacy. It's miraculous to watch the transformation. To see people who believed they couldn't do things for so long become the person or the people they've always wanted to be, and to achieve that success, I can't even explain it. I mean, I really feel like every day I get to experience miracles.
What an amazing person, truly remarkable, somebody who truly loves what she does. Master Life Coach Dana Heartman, making our world a better place, one person at a time. To learn more about Dana Heartman, visit danahartman.com or foundationcoachinggroup.com. For CUTV News, I'm Jim Masters. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.